3 weeks. Those are cardinal symptoms that there may be tuberculosis.
But why does the person lose weight? What is this bacterium eating at?
Then the person has low appetite in that period.
Okay.
There's fatigue. The person is not just moved to do so much. So all of that makes the person to lose weight as well.
How rapidly do symptoms develop?
From when the person gets infected, if it is going to become symptoms, if the person has low immunity already, within 6 weeks, the person begins to cough. Otherwise, if it has been latent there, and then the person now gets in contact with somebody else that has the infection, then the person develops symptoms. So the person then develops the cough. Most times, that's the first symptoms. And then the person develops this fever, is not well, and all of that as well.
Now, let's say, practical scenario.
Yeah.
People live in close contact in Nigeria. If you had a case of tuberculosis, would you have to also treat all those other people who live with this person? What would be your reaction towards maybe the close neighbors, maybe people living in the same room or the same house as a person who is infected with TB?
Okay, so what you have just described, we call that contact tracing, and that's what should be done ideally. Somebody comes to the clinic and gives the complaint. You take the person's early morning sputum. After you've done that, and that's where social work is so important, but we are really missing that, especially in many private hospitals when you can't follow up. Now, if the person comes with coughing and you've taken the sputum, trace the person back home.
Okay.
Look at where the person is living. Look at those living in the same building with the person. Ask that they also produce their sputum. You also can take a quick history. Are you coughing, this or that? If they are, immediately. If they are not, you can still do a chest x-ray. Go to the person's working place. Remember, the person is working somewhere. Do the same thing. So you are looking at everybody who has been in contact with this person, whether or not they have a complaint. After you've checked them as well, then you can start treating once a person starts treatment, and that's the beauty of it, the person becomes less and less likely to pass it on.
Okay. So we could say then that, even though it's past and gone, Ebola should be an example for how an infectious disease should be treated.
Exactly. Ebola is a lot more virulent than tuberculosis in that sense. But in terms of the same way we were aggressively going after contact tracing with Ebola, the contact tracing was so well done, and that brought the results we saw, which was good. That's the same way contact tracing for tuberculosis should be done. To get the same people who are living around this person, test them. If they are positive, get them on treatment. If they are negative, educate them, give them let them know they should live in a healthy environment, and they'll get better.
Now, most people know that smoking is bad.
Yeah.
But it looks as if when it comes to tuberculosis, it's a special case of the person has to stop smoking. Why is that?
Smoking, and that's one of the risk factors I should have said when I was speaking earlier. Smoking itself already affects the lungs. So the person's immunity is depressed, especially the lungs. I remember 90% of the tuberculosis we have is pulmonary TB, which is the lung TB. So when a person is smoking, already the immunity is low. So tuberculosis is just giving a lot of space to then multiply and then continue to cause disease. So in fact, if a smoker can stop smoking and stop smoking, it is known that the lungs begin to get back, regenerate, and get back to what it is after some time. So smoking is a no-no, especially when there's tuberculosis. That's out of it completely. You have to treat the person.
We have to go on a short break. We'll be going on a short break and we'll be right back. Stay with us.
If you want to know what's trending or you miss your favorite live shows, you can watch it all on our YouTube channel. Simply log on to www.youtube.com/channelsweb Scroll down to your favorite program and click play. You can also view all uploaded videos by clicking on View All. Don't forget to subscribe and get the latest videos. If they are interesting, like them and be heard. Get connected with the channel's television YouTube page. The news at your fingertips.
You're welcome back. We're still talking about tuberculosis, and we continue with the questions right away. There's so much to cover. Now, in tuberculosis, there's what we call multi-drug resistant TB. Even if before we get to the multi-drug resistant TB, just resistant TB, you know, what causes it? Why is TB becoming resistant?
We have the drug resistant TB, and it could be mono-drug resistant TB or multi-drug resistant TB, you know, and even now you're having extensive resistant TB. So now with mono-drug, really what happens is poor drug compliance.
Okay.
That's the starting point. Tuberculosis is such a disease that once you start treatment, you should use the treatment daily. Now, you don't use one drug. You combine as many as 6 drugs.
For one infection?
Yes, in the first 2 months of the disease.
Okay.
Which is called the intensive phase. The other phase of 4 months, you can then use 2 drugs. Now, that's why, you know, education of the person using the drug is so important. It's not palatable. You have to take these big drugs
every single day
for 2 months.
6 months.
2 months first, and then we reduce the dosage, the number of drugs, and then you take it for 4 more months. Before, it used to be 8 months in all. So this is even short course. Shortcut has made it 6 months. So that's a lot of work, no doubt. The drug has its side effects, you know, it makes the urine colored, it gives malaria and all of that. But it treats the disease. Now, that is what brought about what we have, the directly observed treatments, where you come to the hospital, the nurse gives you the drug, you put it in your mouth, you take your water, you swallow it in their presence.
Okay, so you dish it out every day?
Every day. Every day. Now, what makes it resistant is that once you skip taking it, you start taking it and then you stop. You've not dealt with the bacteria. And so, just like survival strategy, these bacteria are able to mutate and then become resistant to the drug. So poor drug compliance, either stopping to take it, or in very, very few cases, the person just reacts to a particular one of the drugs, and that's why you have the mono-drug resistance. And because of that, the bacteria is able to develop resistance to it, because maybe you have to stop it. So that's why the person has to really be close to the hospital if there's any such. Now, if the person has resistance to one drug and you still add other drugs, it increases the chances for the bacteria to be resistant to not just that drug, but the other drugs that are added onto it. Apart from that, you know, we said there's a lot of TB, HIV co-infection as well. So the fact that people are already having HIV or having to be on treatment for HIV, because if you have TB and HIV together, your regimen is looked into, how you are given because of drug reaction. When you start taking what, you know, they have to look at your CD4 count and other things with respect to the HIV, and then appropriately give you the drug for TB. So all of this has to be married properly to ensure that there is no resistance.
That's a lot